Hello and welcome to a new series of features on the Bike Show, a series in which I'm going to be taking a closer look at some of the great roads of, probably in the beginning at least, of Europe. And when I say great roads, I don't necessarily mean famous roads. I'm going to be showing a lot of roads that I think are great, that I happen to have stumbled across on my travels, rather than roads that are famous because they are already widely regarded as great. I suppose I should have called this section of the channel Nice Roads That I Have Found That You Should Also Ride If You Ever Get the Chance. But it's not quite as catchy, is it? Anyway, they've proven more difficult to film than I first imagined. Not just in terms of time. You need a couple of dedicated days after you've actually discovered and recce'd the road in the first place, during which time the weather frequently changes and wrecks your plans completely, and as I have already discovered, often means you end up leaving a road half filmed with vague plans about coming back to finish the job at some later stage. So let me please beg for your patience. I will get better at filming, editing and generally telling the stories of these roads, but in the meantime I just had to start somewhere. This first road I've called the Guadalest Museum Loop, and it really came as a proper surprise to me, not only in the type of geography and roads that I found inland of the Alicante coastline in Spain, but also the small private museum that provides the focal point of the route. So without any further preamble, here it is, a 103 kilometre circular route inland of Alicante and Benidorm, a region of Spain better known for its beach resorts and Mediterranean coastline. You join me in the centre of the town of Callosa d'Ensaria, and by the way, please forgive all my horrible Spanish pronunciation. I'm looking for the way up to them thar hills. So from the centre of town, the roundabout in the centre, you need to be heading towards Belula Tarbena. But from here, it very quickly starts climbing a mountain pass for these mountains just ahead of us, and you will soon get a feel for the type of road it's going to be, which is very tight and very twisty. And at this time of year, which by the way is, what's the date? 27th, I think, of December. It's very dusty, extremely dusty. It was 20 degrees, 21 degrees down at the coast. It's already 19 degrees here. So yeah, just be aware of grip levels when you start out. It is incredibly dusty. In some ways, starting from here is a bit like going in at the deep end, really, because it's very tight and twisty. And if I remember correctly, I was up here doing a recce ride probably about a week ago now, and this is the first time I'm going to join everything together in a loop. Now I've surveyed the area, but if I remember correctly, this is pretty tight and twisty. I mean, there are some first gear hairpins on this route. So yeah, if like me you're into your faster flowing third, fourth, fifth gear even sweeping turns, this first part is not it. However, it will be more than made up for it by the views. Oh, here we go again. I saw this the last time. Alright then, there's another thing to talk about. If you are here, I presume in winter or maybe spring and autumn as well, wherever there's shade, the road is often, can you see that on the left hand side in particular, is damp, which is a little bit of a worry when you're going for it. Yeah, clearly wet in fact, and it's noticeably colder in these shadier areas. Oh yeah, that's, you see that? That's pretty damp. Let me just have a look at the tyre. Yeah, big wet line down the middle of it. Okay, that's unfortunate. I don't really know what that's about, because as I say, we've had no rain for a good couple of weeks in this region. By the coast, maybe a high moisture content in the air, but also Maybe it's something to do with there being high water. Can't imagine so though. In the ground, I think seeping through the road, but I mean, look at this region. It's arid. This is a popular holiday destination. Oh, is that shiny because it's dry? Yeah, it's a popular holiday destination because it gets no rain. You can come here in winter as a Northern European and be assured of sunshine and dry weather. Okay, that's where we're going, up the valley. We do get some cracking views in a bit. Okay, first, unexpectedly tight turn. I have to say though, even though it's dusty, even though it's occasionally damp in the shade, I mean, this is a pretty small... Where's it going? Oh. Never nail it over a crest, because it will catch you out. Wow, look at that. You see that? Yeah, that's pretty damp. Ew. Oh, jeez, and that's pretty wet. And that's pretty tight. Oh dear. I'm sure in summer when it's 35 degrees and it's been light since 4 in the morning and it's light till like 11, it's not going to be a hassle, is it? Yeah, another tight one. I can even do first around these easily. So this is for the tourist biker in you, because you're not going to flow much on these. They are good fun, mind you. I mean, who could not enjoy a load of corners on a motorbike? But it's a bit point and squirt. Oh well. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's a bit squirmy. You've got to be... I've got to be careful. Delicate with the throttle and the brakes. Wherever there's any shadow. But there are a lot of lovely views. I can see some nice views in my wing mirrors. I don't know if you can. Yeah, horribly wet. Oh wow, now the views are starting back towards the coast. Even though it's a minor back road, the surface is fantastic. I mean, no subsidence, no dips, no sign of a pothole anywhere. I mean, it's not a brand new surface by any means, but Spanish road builders who put this together did a fantastic job. It's weathering perfectly. No cracks, no real signs of wear. Very consistent in that respect, I have to say. Well done, chaps. Nice road. I've seen a lot of cyclists up here, and not just keen amateur riders. I've seen several full-on professional Tour de France type teams who I have learned use this region, as Calpe in particular, where I'm staying, as a winter base for training because of these mountains, because of the weather. I've seen, who have I seen? Confrides, a French finance firm, that's a big Tour de France team, and Astana. Yeah, with the full support crews, several cars behind them, shifting. Boy, do they shift up and down these passes as well, I have to tell you. I think the surface has got even better now. Just over the first little sort of peak in the pass. A bit grippier. One of those roads where it's quite difficult to pay 100% attention to the road because the views are just so lovely. It's a little bit more flowing than the first part of the climb. Still got plenty of corners to throw in and catch you out though, but nothing too horrendous. Keep your concentration up. Chance to snatch third every so often. It's on roads like this that you really appreciate these new standard sort of fit of the quick shifters, up and down. Oops, I'm down into first there, bloody hell. Just forget what low gears you're using. Yeah, these up and down quick shifters are bloody Lovely. Here we are at the top of the pass, with having a look behind us, I think. Just as you go over the top, oops, looks like they've got some roadworks going, which more than likely, I would assume, won't be here when, or if you ever come around. What the bloody water's all about. Yeah, down past the first hairpin, here we go. And here's a viewing point where we get a really nice view over the area about where we're about to go. It's worth taking a couple of minutes here to soak up the views if it's a clear day. You have a decent line of sight over the town of Parcent, that is the next destination, and then left along the valley where the route continues. The other side of Parcent is the Mediterranean and the coast between Denia and Gandia, and to the left of that the 1,000 metre high range of hills behind which lies my second, much shorter route in this series. Helping you work out what is in the landscape that is spread out below you is this handy 3D relief map. But once you've got your bearings, it's time to hit the road again. There's still a long way to go. Okay, over the top, and worryingly there's now a massive drop over the side and double Armco in places. I think the message is don't fall off the road. Ah, double Armco again. I get the hint. Rear wheel still chirruping away even with the ABS. I talked about using and covering the brakes in a recent riding tip, and just as an aside, that it's very much the sort of road where I use quite a lot of back brake to help the front out. You don't want to be mad on the brakes on these sort of roads, just try and make it flow as much as you can. But yeah, I use the back a lot just to help steady the bike down a bit. And you know, even not just on the way into the turn, but even on the way out you can use it, as I am right now, just to keep some brake on as I start to accelerate. Oh dear. Here we are coming into Parcent. Sorry if I've just massacred the Spanish language. And then we're onto this slightly faster section. So turn left just as you get into Parcent. And as you can see, the road starts to speed up nicely. Although, if I remember correctly, it suddenly got a bit tighter on me for a while. Here we go. But yeah, we're definitely getting into a few kilometres of some fourth and fifth gear stuff, rather than just, apart from here, second gear. But the road has got a bit wider again. Very nice. Oh, crest. Okay, just a little. But it's a fast road now. It's 100 mile an hour easy. 160 k an hour road. But then, okay, all in shadow. Oh, feels colder again all of a sudden. It does make me nervous, I have to be honest. Okay, yeah, this has got damp patches for sure. You see that? Oh wow, yeah, look at that. You don't really want to come across that when you're 100 mile an hour with some lean angle in play, do you? Not really. Yeah, that's wet. Oh, let me just stop here. I see something. Okay. Yeah. You may be wondering why I've stopped. Well, this caught my eye. It's, what's the word? Not a monument, is it? It's a memorial, that's it. Yeah. These are invariably for motorcyclists. There's no specific detailing on this one, or a name, or a... But looking at the road, yeah, that's enough to make you pause and consider, isn't it, really? Okay, so coming from that direction, it's a fast bit of road, easily top 160, 180 k's along there. Coming into a left and a right, which are tightish, but you know, you could whack through there in third gear. It's a beautiful surface, nice and grippy. Yeah, what do you say? I just hope that it was quick for whoever this was. Experience tells me that it was probably a little bit of a fright, panicked a bit, looked at the edge of the road where he thought he was going to have to go off, went off there, possibly stayed on the bike and went over the edge. That's all speculation, but newer people to biking often have those types of crashes. My own advice would be, if you find yourself in that situation, it's easier said than done. Just believe, commit to making the turn. Force your eyes to look around this bend. Keep using the front brake if you want to. The front will take a massive amount of loading, and even if you do lose the front and then consequently crash, at least you're off the bike. And you crashed having a go, and you would slide into this gravel not on the bike. You don't want to be on the bike when you leave the road. Hellfire. Yeah, that's definitely got me thinking. As much as I want to go completely bananas on this absolutely lovely sweeping fast road, I am hyper aware that wherever now there is a shadow, a shade, bit of shade, I might be going into an extremely damp piece of road. But where there isn't any, oh, it's lovely. Oh, it's just beautiful. So smooth, so grippy. Castell de Guadalest. Hello. Hey up, another 30. 48, I'll get you arrested. So this is 30. Yeah, it's slow. Oh, 36, still arrested. Surely you shouldn't have speed limits that human beings can actually run faster than. Like say Usain Bolt come here and get done for speeding. This next section of the route out of Castell is superb. Still pretty tight, but the surface is close to being perfect. Just so smooth and with plenty of grip, you could definitely enjoy a stiffly suspended sport bike along here. I haven't said anything for a while because my concentration levels have just absolutely spiked. I'm trying to enjoy the road, but I'm trying to also measure the old risk reward with the dampness. I mean, it's been in shade the last couple of kilometres, and it's worse in some places than others. I suppose I'm a bit stupid for even trying to enjoy the road, but you know. But it's a lovely part of the world though. I had no idea that this region just inland from the likes of Calp and Alicante and Benidorm was quite so lovely. And I've obviously only just scratched the very surface of it, but whichever way I go, whichever direction I head, I always seem to come across some fantastic roads. So even though this is a loop I've cobbled together, I mean, come to the region, there's obviously hundreds and hundreds of kilometres of other roads. It's just some of the better ones that I've stumbled up, and I've joined the bits and pieces up to make a loop. So it's not like this is the only thing there is to ride around here, and I am not making any proclamations about this being the best route in the region, not by a long way. I mean, how would I know? But in my little bit of wanderings around here, I would say yes, this is very much worth coming to ride. I mean, I don't know how high your standards are, but I think it's lovely. I suppose if I spent more time in Spain, I might just think it was alright, but I think on the back of coming from Italy, where the scenery is great but the roads are just horrible, it's very refreshing indeed. That, by the way, your Google might take you down that road. Don't follow it, it gets very small and tight. This is a slightly longer route round to the next town, but much more of an enjoyable road. But if you're hungry or thirsty, it's worth deviating down there for about half a k or so, because there's a very unassuming little bar next to the village's tiny sports centre that serves fantastic tapas at unbeatable prices. It was recommended to me, and so I'm passing on the recommendation. Oh, it is a biker's paradise, it really is. And the roads aren't exactly busy, are they? Not at this time of the year. I imagine it's different in the height of summer, but that is one of the advantages, Nad. We might have some damp patches, but I haven't. Can't remember the last time I saw a car. It's like your own private bloody road testing track. Okay, a few signs. I gather this is going to be tight. 3 of those danger signs there. Ooh. Little crest unloaded the front just as we were turning in. Oops. That's the other thing on these narrow roads, the locals often like to cut them, and if they haven't seen you coming, you need to be prepared to pick your bike up a little bit. You know, it's like, I mean, if I go near the white line, I lean over into the other side of the road. But yeah, some of the boy racers I've met, I mean, I would be the same, I'm sure. You start to straight line. If you know the roads really well, you start to straight line those bits that you know you can, even if you're unsighted, so just something else to be aware of. By this time in the ride, if you've come anti-clockwise like I have, you've already covered a lot of distance, hundreds and hundreds of corners, some of them really sharp, some first gear hairpins, some that do try and catch you out, and this one sort of looks rather innocuous, but it actually gave me a genuine fright when I was riding it the first time. I think because I had done so much, I was getting slightly too relaxed. It's just coming out of the village of Benimassa, and the road just straightens up a little bit,
and there's a very slight crest, and immediately afterwards it just hangs a really sharp right-hander, and it's downhill, and look, it's not too difficult to corner. It's just quite how unexpected it was after what's been a fairly nice fast flowing section. So I'll mark it on the map. It made me pucker me bottom a bit, so I think it's worth mentioning. Yeah, it was a kind of reminder to me, just in time as well, because the road gets really even more entertaining from now, but it was just a reminder to wake up, pay attention. Sometimes the road markings aren't always there to be seen, and the problem with this one is that you might just be able to see it now, but it only reveals itself to you once you've gone over the crest, really. So yeah, it's a bit late, that warning, but it did its job. I woke up, and then there's a couple of other corners coming up that could catch you out if you weren't on top of your game. So enjoy the road, but pay attention.
Once those couple of awkward corners are dealt with, the road really opens up and becomes superbike territory. Still fantastically smooth, but much better visibility through the turn, so you can keep your speed up much more safely. Though, this being a hilly region, you obviously have to remain alert for the inevitable unexpected corner, just to keep you on your toes. Gorga, I think this is where we need to turn, head back the way we came, sort of. Oops. Okay, here's a little roundabout. Left here. I don't know which one. I think down here. I could have just gone wrong. Some of these turns are just, I mean, they've got one like warning sign on them, whereas others have triples, but the ones are often worse. This one's got nothing at all and is horrible. Wow, that's a proper series of ridiculous tight turns in a short space of time, which is lovely, to be fair. I have to admit though, it's a challenging road. It's a lovely road. It's a lovely loop, but it is challenging. It would not take much of a lapse of concentration or just a slight misreading of the road, and you're going to run out of room. I mean, it's the same with, you know, any enjoyable road is often the fact that it's challenging, and that means inherently it's probably quite dangerous. This is probably the most boring bit of the loop. Some thankfully brief straight rows before and after the junction you hang a left at to head towards the village of Benasau. After which, though, comes one of the highlights of this route. I think we're back on the road. Here, the CV70 awakens as it starts to climb once again, winding its way over a very entertaining pass to Port de Confrides, making it, as a local biker told me, one of the most enjoyable bits of road in the whole Costa Blanca region. That was an interesting sign. I gather there's lots of speed trapping on here or something. Drones, helicopters, bikers. That was a bit weird. Yeah, I'm not sure what that was about, other than don't speed, I would think. Don't even know what the speed limit is. Again, it's pretty stunning scenery, isn't it? And again, I don't really have that much time to look at it. The sun's out, I'm going to play in it. Hopefully there are no policemen about. Good fun. Please don't let there be any coppers around, because this is lovely. This is another of the most enjoyable sections of this loop. I do remember this. "970 meters. That's quite high. Temperature's dropped, as you'd expect. Interesting looking place. This is a, I have to say, this is a loop that you want your brakes to be in top order, because there is a lot of braking. And your trail braking skills will need to be up to scratch as well, because it is handy if you're confident about keeping the brakes on towards the apex of some of these turns, because you're not always going to have the room to get all your braking done before you get into them. What a lovely road though. Really lovely. Oops. Bit too hot. Oh yeah, some of them are very tight in on downhills, of course. They always feel a bit worse, don't they? Once over the pass and into the village of Confrides, you get a view of the mountain you've just traversed and a glimpse of the final part of the route that is left before you can enjoy a bit of well-earned sightseeing. Oh wow. Scenery is spectacular. It would be worth coming here just for the scenery, never mind the fact that there is a tremendous road that runs through it. That's a lot of warning signs. That's a tight corner.
This is another of those ridiculous corners that will come out and bite you. But at least they've put 3 of the chevron signs up there, and you can see it from a fair bit down the road. But still, it's pretty damn sharp after you've come off the hill, that amazing mountain pass. But it's worth stopping here. You'll see this area here on the side where I've stopped, because those chevrons mark a dangerous corner, but they also mark a wonderful, wonderful view of Castell de something or other that I've forgotten. Maybe I'll put the name on the screen, which is probably the highlight of this loop in terms of touristy, historical stuff. There's an ancient castle up there, over 1,000 years old, or the remains of one anyway. The lake at the bottom. Couple of good places, very touristy. I think the place has got a population of like 200 or something, and if that, but it's got about 10,000 tourists there every day.
This is an attractive little village that is worth an hour of your time, with plenty of restaurants in which you can grab a bite to eat, though I would wait if you can, because the final destination is just a few corners away, and if you like barbecued meat, you're in for a proper treat. Have a stroll through the quaint whitewashed streets, but follow your nose towards the castle. Climb the stairs through the gate, cut into the rock face, and you will find, perfectly hidden from view until now, the heart of Castell de Guadalest. You can take a quick tour of the castle, buy a souvenir, or just take in the views of the mountains and the lake in the valley below. This place existed in the Muslim age well over 1,000 years ago, and even after the Christians conquered the place, there was still a sizable Muslim population. Well, for a while there was, because in the early 1600s, the Muslims of this whole region were forcibly evicted, leaving something of an unpopulated desert as a result. And as if by some kind of karmic revenge, there was an earthquake about 35 years later that pretty much destroyed the castle in 1644. These days, this lovely place relies on the likes of you and me to spend our tourist euros, so once you've got yourself a memento, it's time to get back on the road for a couple of more kilometres, negotiate several hairpins and pull over at the inviting looking rest area at the bottom of the valley next to the river Guadalest. And this is the little gem at the end of what is a fantastic ride, I have to say. No better way to finish it than at this little museum of historical vehicles, which is actually primarily motorbikes. And there's some little gems in the gem of a museum. It's only one big room, it's obviously a private collection, but there's quite a, how would you describe it, eclectic mix of stuff in there, and I whiled away nearly 2 hours quite happily just looking at all the weird odds and sods that are in there, from Ducatis and Moto Guzzis to old French marks and BMWs and early Indian and Nortons and a Morgan car and an early Renault car. There's some really good stuff. And next to it we have a restaurant which is highly recommended. Unfortunately I got here too late to test it out, even with Jack's the other day. We got here a bit later. In the winter it shuts at 4, but it's just got a massive outside barbecue pit area and inside seating as well. 5 stars on all the reviews, so if you're in the area, make a booking and finish the day here. Spend an hour or so in the museum and go and have what is supposed to be a fantastic array of meats done to perfection on the open fire. And before you leave to head a few minutes down the road to close the loop and return to the start point, do yourself a favour and check out the roadside market stall, because they sell some excellent local products. I can highly recommend the pimenton picante and the even tastier lacinata pimento ahumado. Yeah, sorry, bad pronunciation. It's a smoked version of the pimento. We use chili powders in pasta dishes or on roast chicken or just about everything really. We love them. In fact, I think we've actually become addicted. So there you have it, 103 kilometres of hugely enjoyable, challenging, beautifully surfaced, fantastic mixture of tight and twisty and fast flowing roads, suitable for everything from a superbike to a tourer and all points in between. Brilliant views, A total of 3.85 kilometres of climbs, some quaint villages, the occasional castle, and a belter of a little bike museum to round it all off. I'm going to be scoring all the roads that I put on this channel because I can. And they'll go from 1 star, which denotes a route worth riding if you're already in the area. 2 stars means if you're in the country, it's worth heading here to find the road. A 3-star road means it's so good it actually merits making it a destination in its own right. So visit the country to ride the road. And 3 stars and a golden bucket means you should add this to your bucket list. A road so good, you need to make a plan to ride it before you kick the bucket. It's that good. And this road, the first I've done, well, I was going to give it 1 star. Still a top rating, bearing in mind I'm only going to be filming roads worth riding. But you know what? Upon further reflection, I think that its mix of attributes deserves 2 stars. If you ever find yourself in Spain, then I don't think you'll be disappointed if you head down to the Valencia region and spend a day exploring this route. I really don't. That's it for this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Maybe even consider subscribing, because I will be bringing plenty more great biking roads to the channel in the future. Cheers for now.